Hello again from my front porch. If you're following the news, well, at this point in time in 2023, the Actors Guild out in Hollywood, the Screen Actors Guild, has gone on strike. They have gone on strike in solidarity with the Writers Union, who had already been on strike. But apparently the writers' strike was not having enough impact for the goals they're trying to achieve. So now the Actors Union has voted to join them and support their strike. And this has massive repercussions because it's not just that it means, well, we're not going to be able to film stuff right now, which is enough. It throws off schedules and costs people a lot of money. But it also, the prohibition against what actors can do extends beyond just stuff on the set. It goes into other things too. They can't go to premieres and promotional events. They can't do the promotional tours for their shows, their movies. And they can't even appear at Comic-Cons and fan festival things. And it's not just for promoting new stuff. It's promoting current or past things. And so, people that have spent money to go to whatever city to see their favorite celebrity may be out of luck. Now, if it's a celebrity who's not part of the Screen Actors Guild, or that doesn't, it maybe, I don't know what the rules are. If you were part of it and then now you're not, and I don't know how those apply. But I think I saw there's like 1,600 members of the Screen Actors Guild, and there's a really good chance that the celebrity you would be wanting to go see at some Comic-Con is one of those. And so assuming they abide by the restrictions of the strike, they wouldn't be able to go. Anyway, the reason I'm taking time to talk about this is because I shared this information on my personal Facebook, and I had an individual who, frankly, I wasn't even aware was a regular viewer. Gary, hi. Shout out to Gary Jenkins, my son-in-law's uncle. he's the man responsible for what I'm about to say. So if you don't like it, blame Gary. But anyway, Gary jumped right in and said, "Well, Paul, I guess you're going to have to do more episodes of The Front Porch to fill in the gap." And I responded with, "Challenge accepted." So I've got some topics. I'm going to try to crank out some here. Now, honestly, I do hope that this strike is not prolonged, because there would be a lot of ramifications. The ripple effect. That okay, here's this strike here, but the impacts on other industries and other people. It's not even just the fans that I was talking about before. It's just in general other industries that depend on what happens in the production process of movies and TV shows. And if that's all shut down now, that creates a domino effect for these other folks negatively as well. So again, I'm hopeful that it doesn't go very long. But that being said, I will say for this first salvo in my Paul's attempting to fill in for the Screen Actors Guild, because I'm not a member. I do want to say I don't know all of the details of what they're striking for, but I do know at least two of the main things that have been talked about. One is the use of artificial intelligence, AI technology, and the other is the impact of streaming, the financial impact of that on the writers and actors. Now, that streaming one, it's actually a bigger topic, and I want to dig into that actually a bit more. So I'm gonna kind of shelve that just a bit for a whole nother episode. But the one piece of that I do want to address is something that was really made very clear to us back when Disney or Marvel, Disney owns Marvel, but when Marvel released the film, her. I keep wanting to say Scarlet Witch. It's not. No, it's the other character. It's the Black Widow. That's it. My daughter's gonna be so ashamed. But the Black Widow movie starring Scarlett Johansson. That movie actually, it had been filmed. It had gone into production prior to COVID. Or more specifically, the reactions to COVID, such as the government here shutting everything down, putting all these major limits and restrictions, especially on any opportunity for people to gather in one room, which obviously included movie theaters. And so, boom, there was no opportunity for theatrical release things. Well, during that time, that COVID time, a lot of people, including businesses, got much more friendly with doing things online. And all of a sudden, all of these other companies began to see the real possibility. Like Disney had been talking about wanting to do a streaming option, but they really stepped on the gas and got that implemented, got that going. And they weren't the only ones. You know, we have the Paramount Plus now. We have many other options out there. You know, tried to compete with. You know, Netflix sort of blazed that trail a bit, and Prime Video. And then now, you know, you have all these other entities that are all trying to vie for our money with their own streaming services. Well, Disney, because Disney now owns Lucasfilms, they have the whole Star Wars library, they own Marvel, so they have the whole Marvel library, and of course they have just the Disney library. That meant that there was this massive, if you have a Disney Plus streaming membership, there's all of this stuff you can watch. Well, when those restrictions began to be lifted from movie theaters and stuff, and that you could go back into theaters, a lot of people were still very hesitant to do that. Now, some were ready to go, ready to just charge right in, but a lot of people were like, well, I don't know if I'm quite ready yet. I don't, you know, even with a mask, I don't know if I'm ready to go into that. And say, you know, just in case, you know. But whatever it was, Disney very wisely had their finger on the pulse of this and said, you know, if we just released the not Scarlet Witch, Black Widow, if we just released the Black Widow movie in the theaters, it may tank, it may bomb, because, you know, the turnout's probably not going to be as much as we would like it to be. So, in their infinite wisdom, they released it in the theaters and streaming. Now, the result was, as far as people viewing it, it was a hit. It was huge viewership between the two things. But here's where the rub comes in. Scarlett Johansson, and I'm sure others as well, but that actress specifically, who's the star of the movie, in her contract that had been all developed, put together pre-COVID, followed the pattern of a lot of other pre-COVID contracts, which said, here's the amount we're going to pay you to do the role, and here's the residual agreements. And the residual agreements, part of that, a big part of that, is that you will get a portion of the box, the proceeds from the box, of profit from box office. Well, if your theater, if your distribution company, Disney, if they then decide to distribute in the theater and on streaming, well, if I'm a little on the fence about whether I want to go to the theater or not, whether it's for health reasons, whether it's for financial reasons, because going to the movies is kind of expensive, we'll get into more of that later, whatever the reasons might be, if it's on streaming and I don't have to wait for it to show up on streaming, I can watch it right now while it's in the theater. Okay, yeah, I'm just going to get my family together. We got a big TV. We're going to bring it up and we'll just watch it here. Worked good for the viewers. But for Scarlett Johansson, they really screwed her over because her contract did not compensate her based on streaming viewership. It was totally on a portion of the box office, which was now diminished greatly by the fact that it was simultaneously streamed. So that's just one really high profile example, but there are other examples like that where now you have actors and writers who are saying, wait a minute, you know, it used to be that, you know, we could get some piece of it if, you know, if a TV show went into syndication, you know, when a movie got put onto DVD, you know, there'd be a portion of that we would get. If it got sold to be on a premium movie channel on cable, you know, there'd be some piece of that. There is no language about that with streaming yet. Or at least there's very gray language. It's not solidified. And so that's one of the areas where these groups want to get this locked down. They want to make sure that, you know, I mean, I think sometimes actors are way overpaid, but it is their job, and it's like sports athletes. We have some sports athletes who get paid obscene amounts of money, but people want to watch them, and so it's their job to do these things. And I do believe if you're doing a good job, you deserve to get paid for doing a good job. And so in this case, they deserve to get paid good based on the industry wages for doing a good job. And so, yeah, I agree. They should not be screwed out of their streaming the profits from that. That it shouldn't just be the production company or the distributor who benefits from all of that. That hey, hello, I did the work. I'm the one in the movie. I should get a piece of this. I don't fault them for that at all. The other thing though about the AI. This is becoming an ever-growing thing too, where there are some actors who say absolutely not, and some actors who say, yeah, sure, it's okay. But is this notion that now we can use the artificial intelligence to, well, first of all, we can now put actors on film who are not there, who have been dead for decades. We can put them in a movie. And we through AI we can animate them so they look, the computer graphics are improved to the point that they look real, they look human, and we can do the voice stuff. I mean, you can really make it believable that this person who is deceased is in the movie. Well, when you use that person like that, who gets compensated? I mean, the person's dead. You're not giving them a paycheck. Is it their spouse? Is it their family? Does it go to loved ones? Does it go to their estate? And even at that, what is it? Is it just categorized as, well, we use their likeness? Or do they actually get paid for the amount of screen time? Like as if they were an actor because they're on the screen for this amount of, there are a lot of question around that. And that does need to be nailed down. But the other piece of AI, and this is where the writers came in initially, is that now, I mean, there's all these joke things that go around on Facebook. I see them all the time where I asked an AI to create a CSI Miami script, or I asked an AI to create a Star Trek script, or I asked an AI to create and then it says, here's the plot they came up with. And honestly, some of them are pretty believable. Now, granted, there are a lot of shows out there that are fairly cookie cutter. Police procedural dramas especially are ripe for this. But even sci-fi shows, I cited Star Trek, but I mean, there are a lot of sci-fi shows that they're fairly predictable as to what it's going to be. They use a standard formula that they just sort of change around some pieces. Westerns would be another one, but there aren't a lot of westerns available right now. But westerns were another genre that fell into that trap quite a bit. But so you can program now a computer with lots of variables, lots of information, and then you share that, you dump it in there, you pop in some of the details you want to have, and it can spit out an entire storyline, maybe an entire script with dialogue and everything. Okay, well, who's getting paid for that? And writers aren't getting paid for that. Now, I know there are some naysayers who sit back and say, well, think about workers at McDonald's. You can go into McDonald's now in a lot of places. You can go up to the kiosk and you can order, and you don't even work with the person at the counter. So, if people keep doing that, you want a person, or you can go to Walmart and you got self-service lines instead of going through the checkout line. And if everyone goes to self-service, they're going to close out those people won't have jobs. Well, it's the same thing about the writers. I totally get that. And I am not saying that writers somehow have, or the actors, that they somehow have the golden goose and we can't touch it. No, that's not it. But what I do agree is these groups and those who pay the bills for them, they do need to get together and come to some agreement on these things. What does this stuff look like? Because and this is not a commentary on Hollywood greed, though there is plenty of that. But any entity who exists to make money will strive to make as much money as they can. If they didn't, they're stupid. I mean, that's what. And a lot of places will do so with integrity and with honesty, and still do the best they can. But there are plenty who will go, we can trim a little corner here, we could cut a little corner there, and we could tell a little white lie in this place, and then that will boost it, and some that are even not even worried about that, they're like, do whatever it takes, and it's for those and those other groups that you got to document some things, you got to put it together. And so that's why I think that the strikes are really good. I think that what they're doing is necessary. I do hope it doesn't last long. But in the meantime, do not worry, because your front porch will be here to fill the gap. And with that, I'll see you next time from my front porch.